Blizzcon.
There's nothing like this anywhere else in the world.
Blizzcon 2017 kicks off tomorrow, and I'll be there in person to take a look at what Blizzard has to say regarding the future of Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, StarCraft 2, Heroes of the Storm, and the Diablo franchise. Okay, maybe not that last one, actually, they've already sort of ruled that out. Perhaps next year. Sorry, Diablo fans. Anyway, as I pack my bags, and, well, I mean, I rarely pack my bags until the morning of the trip itself because I'm a child, but as I start to think about packing my bags, I'm also thinking about the show itself. This year will be the third that I'll have attended on behalf of Eurogamer, and each and every time I come back an absolute frothing mess of a Blizzard fan all over again. The sense of community and celebration, the passion for these games, the people dressed up as Murlocs, it is infectious to be around. And so with that in mind, I thought it might be fun to share some of my personal favourite things that have happened throughout the history of this show since it began back in 2005. Maybe there'll be more to add after this year's, who knows, but there's some pretty good stuff on this list already. Like, for example, that time Overwatch was unveiled. This, you'll remember, was back in 2014, and Blizzard at this stage hadn't released a game set in a brand new universe in 17 years. Think about that, 17 years! Not only was this a massive moment for fans, but given the game's incredibly challenging development, it was recreated from the ashes of a cancelled MMO called Project Titan, you could tell when Chris Metzen took to the stage to reveal this thing, it was a huge, unforgettable experience for those that had worked on it in whatever form for all these years.
Holy cow, this is gonna happen. We're gonna remember this moment, guys.
And as ever the case with Blizzard Entertainment, the cinematic trailer they chose to show here was just gorgeous. No wonder they decided to keep these things going with the Overwatch animated shorts. On top of that, we met the game's director for the first time too. He'd once led development on World of Warcraft, of course, helping create one of, if not the best expansions in Wrath of the Lich King, but man, this guy's life was about to change forever.
He's one of the greatest game developers in the world. He is the game director on Overwatch. Give it up for Mr. Jeff Kaplan.
What's up, guys? It's so good to be back here with everyone.
Speaking of people that have won the hearts and minds of Blizzard fans across the world, let's not forget about Red Shirt Guy. Oh, he is just brilliant. Red Shirt Guy made his first appearance at BlizzCon 2010 during a World of Warcraft panel. During the Q&A, he pointed out an inconsistency in the game's lore to the people responsible for writing it, and although clearly nervous, he stands his ground when they question him back. Let's give it a watch.
Said that Falstad Wildhammer was going to be on the Council of Three Hammers, but in the beta it's Kurdrin Wildhammer, and Falstad is not in the game at all. What happened to him?
Isn't Falstad dead? From Day of the Dragon? No?
No, he survived, and in fact, he was the leader of Airy Peak and Vanilla WoW through Wrath of the Lich King.
Right, of course. Right. Yeah, Alex, what's up with that?
Thanks for pointing that out. We're gonna get that fixed.
Blizzard did indeed get that fixed, switching out Kurdan for Falstad, and then, as an added bonus, they introduced a new NPC called Wildhammer Fact Checker that stands right next to him. Red Shirt Guy has since returned multiple times over the years, always in, yes of course, a red shirt, and always with a challenging question at hand.
The lighting's like perfect, it's just like a spotlight.
Man, where do I even start when it comes to the cosplay? Blizzard games attract some of the best cosplayers in the world, and the annual BlizzCon costume contest remains consistently one of my favourite parts of the show each and every time. It can be extremely funny too, like the guy that dressed up as the WoW player from that episode of South Park that we've all watched at BlizzCon 2013. He really manages to sell the pose at the end here as well. Lean and stare. He didn't win the competition, which is quite frankly an injustice that I'm still coming to terms with, but yeah, I guess it does tell you a lot about the level of quality that these contests attract. Oh, here's one I got to experience firsthand at last year's show. BlizzCon usually tends to feature a musical element of some sort, with people like Weird Al Yankovic, Limp Bizkit, and the Foo Fighters all having played during the closing ceremony. But as an extra treat in 2016, there was also a DJ set on the Friday night of last year's show, outside the conference centre itself. The DJ, who goes by the name Christian Nairn, is someone you may know a little better as Hodor from Game of Thrones. Apparently he's a big WoW fan, and actually voices a character in Warlords of Draenor too. But yeah, when he's not doing those things, or holding doors, or carrying Bran, your boy Hodor enjoys spinning the odd disc, it seems. This one was a fan favourite, as you might imagine. And he also had a surprisingly touching closing message. Good on you, big man.
Guys, thank you very much for having me here tonight. When people think about the Warcraft community, they think of all the horrible things they read in trade chat, but I see people like you as a beautiful bunch of people. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you again sometime. And obviously, Hodor.
Whilst we're on the topic of nice people saying nice things, I am a complete sucker for the opening statement each year from Blizzard president and co-founder Mike Morhaime. He always turns up in one of his custom bowling shirts and just has a little wisdom to impart before the show begins. Most notable, I think, were his comments during the opening of BlizzCon 2014, in which he spoke about the ongoing harassment within the gaming community.
Over the past couple of months, there's been a small group of people who have been doing really awful things. They have been making some people's lives miserable, and they are tarnishing our reputation as gamers. It's not right. BlizzCon is a great example of how positive and uplifting gaming can be. Let's carry the good vibes from this weekend out into the world all year round. There is another person on the other end of the chat screen. There are friends, our brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters. Let's take a stand to reject hate and harassment. And let's redouble our efforts to be kind and respectful to one another. And let's remind the world what the gaming community is really all about. Thank you.
It's a real shame to think that speech would be just as relevant this week as it was then, but I'm really glad he said it, and I like to think it is a true reflection of Blizzard's stance as a company on this topic. And yeah, that wraps it up. I think those are just about 5 of my favourite things from BlizzCon so far. If you've got any memories of your own that you'd like to share, do let us know in the comments. I'm sure I've missed out some cool stuff, like the first hands-on with StarCraft 2, that was a big deal, I know. And yeah, I also like to hear your predictions for what to expect this week. Who knows, maybe a World of Warcraft expansion. Almost definitely a World of Warcraft expansion. Overwatch, it's been a little bit quiet there for a while. Interesting to see what they have to say outside of the esports stuff. If you got any thoughts, let us know, and thank you very much for watching. We will see you at the show itself as of tomorrow. Cool. Goodbye.
Moo, 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 moo.